from my understanding in Baltimore, the GM was a GM in its traditional form. You consulted with your coaches, find out what they need, what the team needs, and you go out there and your scouts do their job and they bring back the best possible player, and that coach is tasked to coach them and develop them. That's been the model. Not to say that John didn't have no say. I'm sure he did have some say, but they understood the hierarchy in Baltimore. Teams with success understands hierarchy. Baltimore had success. New England had success. They're having success now. Kansas City, on and on. Pittsburgh, teams that have a hierarchy, and not the hierarchy in the sense of I'm over you, so you better do what do what I say. It's a hierarchy and understanding we are all good at something. So let us all be great at our jobs that are tasked to us, and let's work together. But we understand how, you do your job with coaching, and I'm gonna go out and get the players. We discuss on what type of player we want, even though that should be a part of the interview. What type of player are you looking for? Trevor said it yesterday. It's not as much as with a guy like Harbaugh anyway. It's not as much as the Titans are interviewing him, because they are. It's about now him interviewing them and asking them questions. So, I mean, look, if John chooses to come here, I think two things has to happen, or at least try. One, he has to be assured that you know everybody is going in the same direction. That there's no dissension amongst the ranks. That you know what I used to hear about the Titans isn't what it is, and I think that's why they came together and say, "Listen, we have to have a visible structure here. We have to, because the next coach we're bringing in, we can't do it like we did last time. We can't. Well, who's making the call? I don't know. Well, we got to collaborate with everybody. No, the coach that we're bringing in now, he has to understand and see that this is a capable, functional, highly functional organization. And that's where we're headed. So to me, why not for John Harbaugh? Why not? I don't think he'll have a problem with working with Borgonzi, working with Amy, or working with Brinker. I don't think he would have a problem with that. If it's what's best for the team, then I think he will do it. You don't last 18 years at a place because you're trying to go against the grain every time. You find a common ground and you work amongst one another for the greater good.
Joey from Bellevue says Nashville needs D-Mace to call Harbaugh and recruit him.
Well, I wish he would come here, man. It is. But then, and that's the second thing. And I know I'm from sort of the Barry, it's a sort of school of thought, that don't come here to retire, come here to win championships. Don't come here because it's a great city. Yeah, it's good. It's a nice city, but don't come here because of that. Come here because you want to win championships. So that's my frame of thought. But they need to sell this city on him really, really hard. Like so hard. And they need to sell it to his wife. Don't sell it to him as much, but sell it to his wife. That's who they need to sell it to, and bring out all them bells and whistles if that is the coach that you want to be on your sideline come 2026.
Jason from Mount Juliet on our text line, driven by WilsonCountyHunter.com, says, with all the current coaching openings, the Titans are on par as far as GM goes. There's no opening with a long tenured GM. It's going to come down to personality fit.
I think it will. And, I think it made things, it was sort of like a fly in the ointment when John Harbaugh, even though people kind of sort of speculated that he and the Baltimore Ravens were going to decide to part ways, but he's like still the fly in the ointment, because before John Harbaugh, got fired yesterday, it was, well, who is it Stefanski now? Is it this guy? Well, now the fly in the ointment, now what you going to do? Because it's John Harbaugh across the board.
As I said at the start of the show, there was a report yesterday from Adam Schefter. He said within 45 minutes of the news breaking, 7 teams called Harbaugh's agent asking for, putting out feelers. There were only 6 other openings, which means a team that has a head coach right now called Harbaugh's agent. That's how highly sought after he is. 615-737-1025. We'll take your reaction all show long. Your thoughts on the fit of John Harbaugh and the Tennessee Titans, the number 1 coach on the board immediately after the Baltimore Ravens parted ways with him yesterday after 18 seasons. Coming up next, we heard the pros from Derek Mason on John Harbaugh. We're going to hear the cons now. And again, he is intimately familiar, Derek Mason is, with John Harbaugh. Played 3 seasons for John Harbaugh. So he knows. What are the cons of John Harbaugh? Derek will tell us next. 615-737-1025. Tonight, big one at Memorial Gym. Vanderbilt men's basketball takes on Alabama. 8 p.m. tip-off. Pre-game show starts at 7:30 right here on 1025 The Game.
we didn't really ask ourselves the question. Does he really deserve
It's a different
for a
conversation.
bunch of people calling up, acting like he's some savior? Because they ain't see it in Baltimore. You yourself on the record just a few minutes ago, didn't he say, yo, it's been going on for a few years. Yeah, they got questions about it. And what did they say? Even though X's and O's, the man knows what he's doing. He's a special teams dude that got the head coach job in 2008 and soared and exceeded, and we got mad respect for that. But then since that time, one disappointment after another. We bring up double-digit losses more than anybody in the league. We bring up the absence of a Super Bowl appearance more than anybody else. We're going and raving about other coaches that have won. But the minute they struggle, even though they won more recently than he has, we ready to hold them accountable.
Nobody get in my ear about 90.
Come on now. So,
don't tell me not to in my ear. Go ahead.
So what I'm saying is, when that kind of stuff is happening, I'm simply making the point. Why are we talking like it's automatic? How can you not grab him? Wait a minute.
That was Stephen A. Smith on First Take this morning.
That kid, maybe he just says things.
He ain't a kid. He's a grown man.
I know, but still the kid. I mean, maybe he just says things to get sort of like, you know how you just sometimes you like to throw a grenade in there.
It worked on you.
Yeah,
you're a little agitated
right
now.
And everybody goes. So I just don't, listen, Harbaugh, again, there are cons with Harbaugh. But again, people bring up, they always got the double-digit losses in the regular season. But I guarantee you, in majority of the double-digit losses, they were a playoff team. That's what people are not mentioning. Double-digit loss. So who gives a damn? At the end of the day, were they in the playoffs? Absolutely yes, more times than not. Okay? The games that he's won on the road in the playoffs. Those are the things that I'm looking at. Sometimes, just sometimes, the place you've been at so long, everything just becomes mundane, and the message isn't hitting the way it used to hit no more. The players aren't the same like they used to be even from a year ago. Things just isn't working out for these two individuals. So what do? Doesn't mean that either are less attractive. It just means that we've ran our course. Now it's time to part ways. Stephen A. act like that's something that can't happen. As many times, and I think it was maybe on 2 occasions, the fan base wanted him fired. They cheered for him and loved him. The games he won. And let's just say this. Yes, the Harbaugh after the Super Bowl, the Harbaugh playoff run hasn't been what they expected. It's been disappointing.
In his first 5 years, the Ravens were 9-4 in the playoffs, 4-2 in one-score games. Over the past 13 years, 4-7 in the playoffs, 1-5 in one-score games.
So they didn't listen. He didn't always, close the deal. I get it. So there are some warts, but let's not forget. Did 2 years ago in Kansas City, did he fumble the football? Huh? They would have been up. And their defense is playing good. Did he fumble the football? Did he throw an interception? No. Love Lamar, but Lamar didn't play well. Love Zay Flowers, but he was a part of costing them that game by the fumble. And I know those dudes regret it because they're competitors. Okay, let's fast forward. The next year or 2 years later, was it his fault that Andrews fumbled? Well, no, the year before that, Andrews fumbled. No, I think that was the year he fumbled and he dropped the pass in the end zone. Was that John Harbaugh's? Yeah, I can understand y'all saying that, okay, when they were up versus New England, Derrick Henry didn't run the ball with the last 10 minutes of the game. Well, when they kicked it back to New England, they had the lead. And when New England scored and took up most of the clock, they had to pass. Derrick Henry couldn't be a big factor in the game like he wanted him to. Those are the little things that people fail to mention. And I understand. I get it. He who wears the what is it? He who wears the crown is heaviest on the head, something like that. You know what I mean, people. But it's gonna happen.
In 2022, the Ravens were tied at 17 in a wild card game in Cincinnati. Tyler Huntley fumbled on 3rd and goal. Sam Hubbard recovered and returned it 98 yards.
And I
for a
was watching
touchdown.
that game. I was sitting there watching.
So
that
keep
game.
that in mind.
Yeah.
In 2023, Zay Flowers fumbles at the goal line on the first play of the 4th quarter. Chiefs go on to win 17-10. Of course, last season, Mark Andrews drops a 2-point attempt with 1:33 left that would have tied the divisional playoff game in Buffalo. And you saw how the game ended the other night with a rookie kicker missing a field goal at the buzzer. Let's go to our phone line, driven by WilsonCountyHunter.com, and welcome in T-Mac. T-Mac, thank you for waiting. Please go ahead.
Yes, I have a question.
Mm-hmm.
Am I missing something as far as why do people think we don't have a shot at John Harbaugh? Like why are people saying that? I don't understand. Like, you know, it's just like you see a girl that you think is out of your league. Like, you know, you don't just be like, oh, well, I don't have a shot with it, so I'm not even gonna ask. No, you man up, build up the guts, and go over there and ask, right? So I just want to know, like, why are people saying that we don't have a shot at John Harbaugh?
Thank you for the call, T-Mac. I think some of the reasons, and Derek, you tell me if you agree or disagree. I think some of the reasons are, one, the upheaval in the front office over the past several years, not just in the front office, at coach as well. A lot of turnover in Tennessee over the past few years. John Robinson, Rand Carthon, Mike Vrabel, Brian Callahan, the whole Chad Brinker thing, Mike Borgonzi now. There's been a lot of upheaval in important positions. And I also think does John Harbaugh want a job where he is closer to winning sooner, or does he want to be a part of building something back up? The Titans probably are not in the category of, hey, he comes there, they're going to start winning. I know that there are a lot of worst to first stories in the NFL. They happen almost every year. But I think to answer T-Mac's question, there is also a lack of top-level players on this team. So the lack of top-level players, the insane amount of turnover in the front office and the coaching staff in recent years, I think those combine to make, and we're going to talk about this a little bit later, I think those things combine to make the Titans less attractive than some of the other landing spots.
Yeah, and it depends on, you know, what that coach and how that coach sees his vision working in regards to the team there. Here, you know, when the cabinet is bare, it's hard to sort of get a team or a new coach to, or even a fan base to, you know, holistically buy into what's going on. That's why, you know, it may not, I think you gotta sell the head coach, whoever it may be, on, you know, your two pillars right now, and that's Cam and that's Simmons. You gotta sell them hard on what can be built around them. Look at the rookies and what they did last year, meaning this past season. Look at how they developed. You got a left guard over here that's coming into his own. You got a right tackle that needs some work. You have an offensive line that has some veteranness to it. They just need some more, you know, they need to stay healthy for one. That's first and foremost. But there are things that you have, but there are things also that you don't have. But the good part about it is that we have the money to shop. We can go shop for grocery. Now, we're going to be smart in shopping for our grocery, but we have the money to go shop for grocery. And we think we have a high enough pick that if we choose to move out of it, we can accumulate more and still get the guy that we all want.
John Harbaugh has been linked to the New York Giants. And we've talked about this during the regular season because the Giants made a coaching change and the Titans made a coaching change. Both teams were mid-season firings, with Brian Daboll being fired by the Giants and you know, Brian Callahan. You look at the Giants. they've got young building blocks. They've got Jackson Dart. They've got Malik Neighbors. They've got Cam Scadaboo. They've got Abdul Carter, all of whom are on rookie contracts, right?
Mhm.
That's attractive. I don't know what the Giants cap situation is, but you've got 4 young potential difference makers on your rookie contracts. And Derek, we were talking about this off air yesterday. You were like, why would Harbaugh want to go to New York? That's a pressure cooker. I mean, I think he could handle it. You know, he could handle it. But some people love that.
Yeah.
The Giants are an historic franchise. Now, there are plenty of questions about their GM, Joe Shane, who's going to be sticking around. But I think that's, for example, why the Giants, for example, and we'll talk about the attractiveness of all these jobs, why the Giants may be more attractive to Harbaugh than the Titans, because you just said our building blocks are Cam Ward and Jeffrey Simmons, while the Giants can say our building blocks are Jackson Dart, Malik Neighbors, Cam Scadaboo, Abdul Carter. Sounds better on paper, but we'll see. Let's go to our friend Mark in Nashville on our phone. Mark, excuse me. Thank you for calling. Please go ahead.
Yeah, how you doing, Adam? D-Mace? How y'all doing, man?
We're good, Mark.
Good.
Hey, oh, by the way, Adam, great game last night, Duke and Louisville. Yeah, Duke looked pretty good, Adam.
In the second half, asterisk.
First
in
half,
the second
yeah.
half.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, Michigan, D-Mace, your Michigan State Spartans look pretty good, too,
Yeah,
man.
but we lost to Nebraska, so there you go.
Oh, yeah, Fred Hoiberg, so up and comer, yeah, I understand. Adam, you did leave out Brian Burns. They do have New York Giants. They do have a great squad, man. I'm not gonna say great, but a good squad. I think Harbaugh would look at that picture a little stronger. I don't think Joe Sheen will be around if he did take that job, because I think they would give him that power to bring in who he would want to work for, and that is a pressure cooking job. But my thing is, D-Mace, Adam, it doesn't matter who the Titans pick as coach. And I heard y'all talking a minute ago about all the turnover they had, all the people that they had to replace, which is not good. Are they willing to give this next coach a chance to come in there, build this squad? Because it's not going to be pretty at first. It's going to be a little ugly for them too, because you don't have the players in place that you need to have to get this squad to where they need to get to. So are the Titans going to be patient enough to give this coach more than a year or two before they talk about firing him? Because they got to get it right this time. And even if they do get it right, you're still going to have time to build the Titans up to where they need to get to. But that's all I got to say today, man. Y'all have a good day, Adam, D-Mace. See y'all later.
Thank you, Mark. Send our love to Sugar Free.
Exactly.
Mark, please do.
Listen, the Giants, and I didn't follow the Giants much of any. Saw a few games here and there, but it's not like I'm sitting here a diehard Giant fan and we talk about the Giants all day. But it's not like the Giants is ripping up everything either. It's not like this squad that they've had, which, you know, some of these players were here last year before Jackson Dart got there. And this team still didn't do much of anything. There's a reason why they're drafting right around the same area they drafted last year, as is the Titans. So it's, well, which one is the worst? Because both of them are bad. I would say this. Which team is closer to change in management? Which team is closer to a change
between the Giants and Titans?
Exactly.
The Giants.
Exactly. Absolutely. So do you want, as a head coach, to go in with this guy, and then if it doesn't quite work out, now they're going to be looking to hire another guy? Do I want to go there? And listen, that may be for a coach where he may think, okay, and I don't think outside of John Harbaugh, I don't think any other coach would have the power to try to influence the pick on the GM. I don't think, maybe McCarthy, maybe, but the other ones, no. But unless that's something that, you know, Coach Harbaugh don't mind doing, but he's never experienced that. Because even the sort of, you know, passing from one GM to the other was already set in motion. In Baltimore with Ozzie and then DaCosta, it was already set in motion. They already had a relationship. So is there a possibility that he wouldn't want to go through a 2027 season with a new GM?
615-737-1025. We'll continue to take your thoughts on John Harbaugh at his potential fit with the Tennessee Titans. 615-737-1025. Coming up next, we will get to the cons of John Harbaugh. You've heard the pros from Derek Mason. We'll get to the cons coming up next. 615-737-1025. We are broadcasting from the Busy Bee Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning Game Nashville Studios, home of the $99 yearly Beehive membership, where the buzz is always about great service.
Six job openings right now around the league, Mike. Why, in your opinion, is this job an attractive one for prospective candidates?
I think we have some really good people in the building, people that are respected throughout the league. In the front office here, I think we have a young rookie quarterback that is ascending. Obviously, be a second-year player next year. I think we have a young nucleus of players that you can build on here, that have started to kind of build this culture the way we want it to be. Jeff Simmons. I mean, who wouldn't want to coach Jeff Simmons on defense? We have the city of Nashville. Really, I mean, it's a great place to live, and we have a new stadium coming. So there's a lot of really good positive things to come here. But the first thing is the people in the building. We have a lot of experience here throughout the building, a lot of good people. And we have, support from our ownership group. And Amy supports us in everything that we do here. So, those are really the reasons why I think, this will be a really attractive place for a coach.
That was Titans GM Mike Borgonzi yesterday, pitching the Titans and the city of Nashville to potential head coaching candidates. Derek Mason, Adam Vingan here with you. Be listening at the end of the segment because I have a pair of tickets to give away to see Belmont women's basketball take on Drake at the Curb Event Center on Friday. Tip off at 6:30. So if you want those tickets, be listening for the cue to call at the end of this segment. Okay, Derek, earlier you laid out the pros of John Harbaugh as coach. I want to hear the cons. What's not to like?
And there's not, again, it's you like him as a person, as a family man, as an ambassador to the NFL, and all the great things that he's done, as the coach of the Baltimore Ravens. So there's not many cons when talking about John, but no one's squeaky clean. So people, what do they go to? Well, recent playoff disappointments. Listen, he was tasked at getting 2 iterations of a franchise to a Super Bowl. He got 1 to a Super Bowl by way of defense, and Joe Flacco had a hell of a run in the playoffs. And then the second iteration was supposed to be via the quarterback. And for whatever reason, and it's not solely his fault, it's just the team. They were not able to meet those expectations. On paper, you ask many around, Baltimore, they were a top 2 or 3 roster in the National Football League. Now, I know Lamar has missed games and everything else, even throughout his period of becoming the starting quarterback, I think in 2018, somewhere around there. But this team has missed the mark when they are expected, even in that building, when they are expected to win or get to the Super Bowl. You have a 2-time, should have been 3-time MVP on your team. You have a elite receiver. You have 2 elite tight ends. You have an offensive line that is good. You have a Hall of Fame running back. And even before he became running back. But now you have a Hall of Fame running back. The best runner I've seen of the football in the last 10, 15 years. And then your defense, yeah, you had to retool, but you still had players. You still had one of the best corners in the National Football League. You still have one of the best inside backers, middle backers in the National Football League. You still have one of the best edge rushers in the National Football League. You still had the best safety in the National Football League. So with all of this talent on your team, and that's talking about elite players. You had a lot of good players. So you've missed the mark. You've been disappointing in recent history with the Baltimore Ravens. And then as I said, sometimes, and that's why I said what I said about Stephen A. It's like sometimes the message just don't hit the way it used to. And it happens. And it happened with him before, and he was able to fix it, and off they went with Lamar Jackson. Well, maybe now there's no more, let's see if this works. Maybe we're still too great. We're a great organization, and I'm a great coach, but maybe we need to be great apart. So, yes, his recent disappointment. The message did get stale, possibly, in the locker room. The coordinator, really this year, because this defense, last year, they dealt with injuries, but this year, this defense looked bad at times. Like, they look really bad. So did he, hire the right guy as the defensive coordinator when Mac McDonald went to Seattle? So, and then he's not a sort of, because what is everybody looking for? That fresh, new head coach, that young, young, innovative offensive mind. Well, he's not that. He's older. He's a little long in the tooth. He's been through some things. He may not have that spring that he used to. Man, John used to go after it. You see him run out. Maybe I don't know. Maybe he doesn't. Maybe that isn't there quite yet anymore. But maybe it's just you didn't see it because the environment wasn't conducive for either party anymore. So you maybe didn't see that spring. He looked like a tired man. And in my personal and humble opinion, I think you should take a year off. I think you will get the best John Harbaugh after a year out of the game. But outside of that, I don't think there's many cons to this. I think, again, he works well with the people in the building because I've seen it. Is he demanding? Yes, he's demanding. Is he fair? Yes, he's fair. So there's not many, there's not many sort of cons that I have, and Stephen A did say, which he was right. It's not about X's and O's. It's not about really him adapting because he's been able to adapt. And he knows X's and O's. His time as a special teams coordinator, you touch and feel everybody on the team, all the players. You got to design scheme and everything. So he understands that. But over here, maybe it got a little stale, but it doesn't mean that it will be the same somewhere else. They thought that Andy leaving leaving Philadelphia, that, he wasn't going to have the same success. What has he done? He's won 3 Super Bowls. So it can happen.
Our resident Ravens fan, David Janes, has a comment on John Harbaugh.
So for starters, I'm coming from this as a fan perspective, obviously. But I think one con that I would think of was he's too loyal sometimes. I think that's something with the Harbaughs is that they're way too loyal, which I think that's good as well. I think that's a good thing as well, but it can be detrimental to you because of Orr, who, again, we used to play for the Ravens. He was on the staff, and you gave him a little bit too much power in becoming a defensive coordinator when he wasn't probably ready just yet. And then also with Greg Roman, after 2019, his message got stale. His offensive philosophy got stale. He would never change it up. And so I think that's kind of like the main problem that Ravens fans had was it was a little, he got too loyal and he would not want to shake things up, which again is the reason why he got fired is he wouldn't consider maybe making a change at OC with Todd Monken. And I think that's my only thing I would say is like as a con, because everything else, you're right. He's an incredible coach, but maybe just a little too loyal. And I think that's just the Harbaugh way anyways.
Ben in Cumberland City on our text line says, if Borgonzi is worth anything, he will bring Harbaugh here. I think Borgonzi has to do more because of the image of Amy Adams Strunk in Nashville. If a GM can't convince the best head coach with a future Hall of Famer at quarterback, then that's an indictment on GM. Is Ben suggesting that Cam Ward is a future Hall of Famer at convince the best head coach with a future Hall of Famer at quarterback, meaning Lamar Jackson? Meaning Cam Ward? I don't know, Ben.
Is he meaning John Harbaugh is a potential Hall of Famer coach?
He's a Hall of Famer.
Yeah, perhaps. And one texter asked if the Titans have the money to hire.
Yeah, they got the money.
John Harbaugh.
Yeah.
All of these owners have the
they got
money.
The money. I mean,
all of
they
them
got the money to pay it.
They've got enough money in their.
They're worth billions.
This ain't like paying. Your money. I don't think the money you pay the players or the money you pay the coach comes out of the same pool.
Like, you know how when you go in your car and you're about to put a drink in your cup holder and you feel around and there's like a quarter in there and you're like, yeah, a quarter. This is awesome. These owners have like $100 bills stuffed in their center consoles. So yes, they have.
They have the money to pay. They have the money to hire any coach they want.
Yes. The other thing too, we did talk about this a little bit yesterday, is the Lamar Jackson element of it. Again, I'm watching from afar, but it always felt, maybe always is too strong, but it felt somewhat frequently that there were questions about their working relationship. And look, Lamar Jackson played outstanding football under John Harbaugh. And I know, as you said, Derek, that coaches and players aren't going to get along all the time. But I'm wondering about that element when it comes to Cam Ward.
Again, I don't necessarily know like how intimate their relationship, meaning Harbaugh and Jackson was. Now, it seemed to have been, especially when there was great. he always had his back, meaning Lamar, and Lamar always had Harbaugh's back. So it seemed, at least on the surface, everything was fine. But that's what happens when you win. Some things are tolerable in winning. But, Shannon Sharp said it best. He said, you ain't going to tolerate nothing in a loss that you ain't going to tolerate in a win, or you ain't going to tolerate nothing in a win that you're going to tolerate in a loss. So if I don't tolerate it in a loss, I'm not going to tolerate it in a win either. And, maybe some of that was being tolerated on both sides. Lamar with the head coach with Lamar. But ultimately, it ran its course. It did. And in this business, when you have a 2-time, should have been 3-time MVP underneath center, and you have to make a decision between your head coach that has been there for 18 years and your young, not even 30-year-old quarterback, elite quarterback, who you going to choose? Don't even answer that. I know you're going to choose the quarterback. It was a rhetorical question. And I think that was the position that Bisciotti was in. Like, listen, he and DeCosta, like, the message, it's not hitting like it used to. The team just they're not responding, the way they need to. That's why Billick ended up getting fired, because they felt the team wasn't responding anymore to the things that were going on.
Chase from White Bluff says, Harbaugh won't make a decision until these playoffs are over. That Buffalo job has a great chance of being the best job out there. I really do think it's Super Bowl or bust for Sean McDermott this year.
Whoa, if they get put out in the first round, if they get put out this weekend, Buffalo would be a wasp in the ointment if they were to fire their coach.
Not a fly?
Not a fly. It'd be bigger than that, because now who wouldn't take the Buffalo? It's like everybody would be trying to get the Buffalo job because they have everything that you want.
Buffalo is at Jacksonville on Sunday afternoon.
Yes.
So I guess we'll have to be watching that closely. 615-737-1025. We will continue to take your thoughts on John Harbaugh and the Titans coaching search. I haven't seen any text or calls today stumping for Jason Garrett. Come on, guys.
Who doesn't want
You
Jason
tried
Garrett?
to get his name out there yesterday, man.
Yeah. Jason Garrett, anyone?
Did he send you that check?
Anyone? It hasn't cashed yet. Anyone? I'm just saying. 615-737-1025.
He's got a great smile.
He does have. He's got a made-for-TV smile, which is where he's been for the past few years on TV. But coming up next, we're going to switch gears. We're going to look at Cam Ward. Now that his rookie season is over, how would we assess it? What grade would we give it? And we are going to do that. We also hope to be joined by Willie Donick. He's going through customs. So they flew in from Edmonton, but they've landed in Nashville, but they have to go through customs. And I assume they let all the players get off the plane first. So he's probably still sitting on the plane. So Willie Donick will be here at some point.
Yeah, at some point.
Yes, hopefully this hour, because we miss him. 615-737-1025. All right. I said I have a giveaway. If you want a pair of tickets to see Belmont women's basketball take on Drake at the Curb Event Center on Friday, tip off at 6:30, be caller number 2 at 615-737-1025. Caller number 2 will win a pair of tickets to see Belmont women's basketball take on Drake at the Curb Event Center on Friday. 615-737-1025. Derek Mason, Adam Vingan, 1025 The Game. D. Mace, Vingan, and Donick, 1025 The Game. Derek Mason, Adam Vingan, and David Janes here with you. Willie Donick expected to join us soon. We should probably check on Willie. He's back in town. He's just not here yet, and we miss him, and he'll be here soon. But in the meantime, we are going to put the Titans coaching search off to the side for just a few minutes, and we are going to look at Cam Ward. Cam Ward's rookie season. We're going to grade him. And I'd like to think that I'm a harsh but fair grader. I don't know if those two things actually work together, but I like to think that I am reasonable. I take a lot of things into account when assessing a player's performance, but we are going to grade Cam Ward's performance. So let's just start by laying out Cam Ward's rookie season. He started all 17 games. He did not make it through his final start of the season. He was injured on the first drive. But he did start all 17 games. He threw for 3,169 yards. He threw for 15 touchdowns, threw 7 interceptions. He had a completion percentage of 59.8%, which according to the qualified quarterbacks, the 33 qualified quarterbacks on NFL Pro, ranked 31st out of 33. His 59.8% completion percentage, 31st out of 33 qualified quarterbacks on NFL Pro. He had a QBR of 33.1, which was 28th out of 28 qualified quarterbacks on ESPN. He had 23 turnover-worthy plays, tied for third most with Geno Smith in the league, according to Pro Football Focus. And it's not just about the numbers. It's about how he conducted himself, the mental fortitude, all of those things, the intangibles. So, Derek, as you assess Cam Ward's season, what areas of his game are you most encouraged by? We'll start with there. Which areas of his game are you most encouraged by after his rookie season?
I think his ability to adapt to the situations around him, whether it be underneath center, whether it be in shotgun, whether it be sidearm, getting outside the pocket. He's, especially toward the latter part of the year, it seems like he started to recognize things and adapt to it very quickly. It seemed like they gave him a little bit more leeway. They worked a little bit more toward his strength. So from that standpoint, I think that he became a better processor throughout the game. And that's one of the biggest things for a young quarterback. It's learning how to process this stuff at a speed that you didn't have to process it at before. And just like any other rookie quarterback, whether you were successful or not, that process took some time. And for Cam, it did. But you saw toward the latter part of the season after the bye week, the last 8 games, he became a much better quarterback. Things seem to be clicking. It seems that he's figured it out, that he's starting to figure it out. Not that he's totally figured it out, but that he's starting to figure it out. And he's sort of leaned into more of what they were asking him to do, and he accepted it. He was coachable. So those things I'm excited about with Cam. He has the arm strength. He does need to get better, and we've talked about this extensively. He does need to get better at throwing the deep ball, particularly to that left side. For some reason, he has a hard time, whether it be the deep corner route, deep, the 9 route. He's missed, I believe, more times than not when we're talking about those deep routes to either side, but in particular, I think the left side. So, but that's something that he can work on. But the unfortunate part about it is he will be spending some of offseason rehabbing that shoulder. But like he said, listen, a lot of things that the main thing that I really have to straighten out, and it will sort of bleed over into the other things, is my lower body. So I can still do those things while not being able to throw the football. Okay, if that's the case, then, we should definitely see a change come next season, because he's going to be working intently on that because he can't throw the football. So there should be a noticeable change once Cam starts throwing the football again.
One texter says, we say that the offensive line kind of turned around after the bye. How well was Cam after the bye? About the same. He actually did improve
Yeah.
after the bye. In 8 games, and keep in mind, in the final game, he only threw 3 passes. His completion percentage was 62.4%. He had a touchdown to interception ratio of 10-1, and he only took 17 sacks, an average of 2.1 per game. And the offensive line has a part in that. But I also thought he also showed improvement in avoiding sacks when pressured, whether it was throwing the ball away, evading defenders. I thought he improved there. He did get better. I wouldn't say greatly. I wouldn't say it was like a huge improvement. I would say it was incremental, but it was still noticeable. You could tell that he looked better after the bye. What I was encouraged by was, one, the fact that he was available. He played all 17 games, and yes, I know he got hurt in the 17th game, but he took, up until that point, he took every snap. And I believe he was the only quarterback in the league who could say that entering the final week of the regular season. He took every snap. Durability is a huge plus. And who knows if that will last, but the fact that he made it through the entire season, mostly unscathed, I think that is a feather in his cap. The fact that he improved again after the bye, again, incremental progress, but his completion percentage was better. I was encouraged by that. The plays that he can make, some of the plays that he can make, scrambling, throwing across his body. We all remember the first touchdown to Eligaya Manor at the beginning of the season. He had some big plays like that, later in the season. They're escaping me which games they were. I'll think about it. But just those big time throws, they were, and I regret, I'm prefacing this by saying I'm going to regret saying this. They were Mahomesian. I'm not saying. I'm not saying
Here's the
he's
text
going to be
and the
Patrick
calls.
Mahomes, but it was Mahomesian.
Okay.
So I look.
Mahomes adjacent.
Yes. So those were some of the things that I was encouraged by. At the same time, some of these numbers are just, they're not good.
No.
They're not good. The completion percentage isn't good. The number of turnover-worthy plays isn't good. If you want to get even fancier, the expected points added per dropback wasn't good. And I understand the QBR was the worst in the league. I can understand, and I said this before, it's about context. I acknowledge the fact that Cam Ward had I would say a below average overall, a below average offensive line. I do think the offensive line improved over the course of the season, but overall, I would say it was still a below average offensive line. His top targets were 4th-round rookies. How rare is that? Calvin Ridley got hurt, and he was leaning on Chim Dike and Eligaya Manor and Gunnar Helm, and of course, Chigakonkwo. But a lot of his primary targets were 4th-round rookies. That doesn't happen very often for a rookie quarterback. So I have to keep that in mind. His coach got fired after 6 games. And before that, his coach gave up play calling responsibilities. So I factor all of that in when evaluating Cam Ward's season. Overall, I would say that I am cautiously optimistic. I think there's a lot to like about what we saw from Cam Ward. To your point, Derek, there are plenty of things he needs to focus on: the footwork, the accuracy downfield, the shoulder injury, which is not as serious as we all thought it would be. That will factor into, how much improvement he can make on that during the offseason. But as I sit here right now, I am not going to say that the Titans made a mistake by drafting Cam Ward number 1 overall. I am also not going to say that they hit it out of the park. I am cautiously optimistic from what I saw.
It's yet to be determined. And I understand why, people wanted to go from A to M and then from N to Z, like in 2 years. Why? Because you were the number 1 pick. So people just expect, like, you can't, the process or the development for you is different from everybody else. It is. That's just the people can say whatever they want to say, but they expect the number one pick in the draft, regardless of who it is. The way you develop is different from the way everybody else is developed that get picked after you, especially if they're not in the top 5 or 10 players chosen. But that's just the nature of the position that you were drafted in. If Cam Ward was the 18th pick in the NFL draft, this would be great for Titans fans. They would be, hallelujah, we found our guy. But because you are the number 1 pick in the NFL draft, it's, oh man, woo, he still which he does still have some developing, a lot of developing to do. But I think under the circumstance, what more do we believe? And this is like an honest question, like, what more do we believe he could have done to take a team that we're trying to convince another coach to coach? Like, we're trying to convince another coach to coach this team, but we expect our rookie quarterback to make, make chicken out of what. And when I say that, it's not, I don't want to make it seem like this is just a what. They don't have as much talent. The cupboard is bare. Okay. And you asking him to cook a full course meal with just beans and rice. I can live on beans and rice now. And you take a pick. Who you want to be the beans and who you want to be the rice, Cam or Simmons. I can live on beans and rice. But if you're talking about a full course meal, it ain't just going to be beans and rice. You got to give me some more, but you're asking him to create that out of that.
It's reminiscent of when I was younger. I was after I graduated college, and I had met my wonderful wife, and I was on my own and
eat ramen.
I didn't actually eat a lot of ramen. One of my go-to, man. I don't think I'm going to say it. I think it's gonna gross people out. One of my go-to, I'm just going to eat something quickly because I have nothing in the house and I'm not good at cooking. It would be a hot dog wrapped in the tortilla with melted cheese.
That's not as bad. I don't eat hot dogs, but that's not as bad.
I've heard a lot worse.
Cam Ward's his ingredients were a hot dog and a tortilla. That's what it was. And that does not absolve Cam Ward for some of the things that he needs to correct. Mm-hmm. But again, it's all we were preaching this all season. It's about context. Look at the roster. Look at the pass catchers. It's just not good. It's just not good. So we've gotten a couple of grades on our text line. We will give our grades as well.
Yes.
But one texter says, B+. If I polled Titans fans at the start of the season and asked if 3,100 yards, 15 touchdowns, and 7 interceptions would be a great season for a rookie with our lineup, most would say yes. Now we know he did that with mostly rookie wide receivers. Easy for me to say. Wookie. Chewbacca was out there. Chewbacca, he runs a 4.6. No, with mostly rookie wide receivers. No Ridley, no Lockett.
And yes, listen, he has to do his part, Cam. And I think at times he was able to do it. But then there are times that, he struggled. And, he can't have those same struggles next year, especially if they find a way to make this roster better. But, a B+, maybe that's too high for me. I would say maybe a C+. I wish he would have finished the last game. That would have been more telling. For me, it would have sort of gave that final grade. But I'm somewhere, a B+ for me, that would be too high.
I would agree with that.
Yeah, that would be too high. But hey, if that's what the texter, feel they've been watching is B+ quarterbacking, then okay.
Jared from Spring Hill says, I'll give Ward a C+. What he lacks in stats, he has in mental toughness. Mm-hmm. The biggest difference maker is between the ears, and he has a respectful mental drive.
Yeah, it just seems like he takes everything as it comes, but but he doesn't mind a challenge. He didn't mind. It's like, watch a quarterback, especially a young quarterback or an older quarterback. Watch after a while, watch their face when they get tackled or when they get sacked. Watch their face. Their face is telling. Their body, as much as they try to, like, either their body's going to give it away, their body language, or their face expression is going to give it away. You didn't know with Cam. You just thought it was a routine play, whether he got knocked down 5 times in a game or not, or 2. He got up with the same mentality. I'm getting up and I'm fighting again. I'm getting up and I'm fighting again. I'm challenging guys. I'm challenging myself. I'm getting up and fighting again. So that type of demeanor, I think, along with the talent, because it's not like he has this demeanor but not the talent. The kid has the talent. But that type of demeanor and that talent and that understanding that you believe he's developing, and everybody in that locker room, in that building, says he's a coachable guy. He's about ball. Isn't that what we wanted? Someone that was all ball. That's what we wanted. Well, this kid seems to be all ball. At least that's what Borgazzi has told us. So, he has some more developing to do. But I feel confident that we will see a better version of Cam Ward next year.
Doug in Columbia says, I think he did fine considering he had a decimated team. I'd give him a B-. Matt from Camden says, he never gets too high or too low, and that is huge for a quarterback. 615-737-1025. We are assessing Cam Ward's rookie season. Give him a grade and tell us why. 615-737-1025. Our phone and text lines are driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. Let me tell all of you in the meantime that the Game National Sports Network is your home for college football playoffs. Tomorrow, following the Vanderbilt women's game on 94.9 The Fan, catch number 10 Miami against number 6 Ole Miss in the Fiesta Bowl. The college football playoff is presented by Twin Peaks and Parman Tractor and Equipment.
Hello and happy New Year. I'm going to say that for the last time because per Adam Vingan and Larry David, I can no longer say happy New Year after today. So happy New Year, everyone. This is Derek Mason, and you heard me tell you about Dr. Lodge and his staff at Cool Springs MD for some time. If you set out to lose weight, chances are it's not your first time. Setting a resolution. Now that it's 2026, we know that you set a resolution to shed some extra pounds, only to face disappointment in the past. But we got some good news because at Cool Springs MD, Dr. Lodge and his team understands the frustration of this cycle, and that is why they offer a different approach to weight loss. Their comprehensive weight loss program is led by Dr. Jeffrey Lodge and addresses the root cause of weight gain with tailored nutrition, exercise, blood test supplements, and more. They will customize a program specific to you and you only. So connect with Dr. Lodge at CoolSpringsMD.com today to schedule your appointment for a personalized weight loss plan just for you. That's Cool Springs MD, where your weight loss journey becomes a success story.
Cam's first season, how important it is to find a coach or staff that can help him develop?
Yeah, no, when I think of his first season, I think he went through a ton of adversity. And I think, he battled through it and he got better. So, the coach we're looking for on that side of the ball, whether it be the head coach, if an offensive coach, or just the offensive coordinator, is to help him develop more, and really to find a coach that can really accentuate some of the strengths of the players. You're always looking for that, Jim. A coach, really good coaches know their personnel, know their players, and what do they do well, and how do you put them in the best position to win. So, we're looking for someone that can, really look at Cam, and this is what he does well, and this is what our receivers do well. This is what our running backs do well. So that's what we're looking for.
That was Mike Borgonzi. Ashley Simpson. I like it, David James.
I was feeling some Ashley
okay.
Simpson today. I was literally listening to this song on the way here. I was like, oh, I'm playing this on the radio.
I respect him.
Oh,
By the
Ashley
way,
Simpson.
Wes in Hermitage says, Adam, I hope you know I am strongly wishing you a happy new year, and I'll do it again every day this week. No, that is very much unacceptable. Today, I don't know if Mayor O'Connell is listening right now, but if he can make some sort of city decree, I establish in the city of Nashville that today is the final day you are allowed to wish anybody Happy New Year.
I thought it was March 1st.
No, that's Derek's dumb idea. It's January 7th, according to Larry David. I'm pretty sure. So today is the last day you can wish someone Happy New Year. If somebody wishes me Happy New Year tomorrow, I'm gonna be like, what the hell are you talking about?
We're 8 days in.
So guys, do not call in tomorrow and wish Adam a happy New Year.
Do not
please,
call in.
Please do not call in tomorrow. Please.
Oh boy. Okay, let's get back to Cam Ward before people go nuts. We asked for your grades on Cam Ward's season, and we've got some wide-ranging grades. Matthew from Jolton, by the way, says that Cam wasn't throwing to Wookiees; he had Ewoks. That's probably true.
That's fair.
Let's see here. Ricky says C-, missed way too many easy throws and struggled early, but ended the season looking like a kid who worked hard and caught up quickly. One texter says it must be mentioned that Cam faced a murderer's row of defenses this year. We've brought that up many times. I'm not even complaining about it. He persevered through the schedule with an awful team with awful coaching. The handful of times I even remotely enjoyed watching the Titans every Sunday were the moments where his ability to create plays and make insane throws surfaced. We ass, but we won't always be. I did give Cam Ward in my grade a slight check for introducing "we ass" into the lexicon. So he gets credit for that. One texter says, I give him a C. Let's remember that this is 2 grades above failing, which is more than admirable for a rookie year. If he can shore up some of the inaccuracy issues and the turnovers, he could be well on his way to a B+ next year. My grade. Oh, see, look what you guys did. Richard from Murfreesboro texted in and said, text for tomorrow for Adam. Happy New Year.
Yes, thank you.
Oh, God. All right.
We said, please don't do that, guys.
Yes. All right.
Yes.
Cam, back to Cam.
Oh, man.
My grade for Cam, I am giving him a C. Just a solid, right in the middle, a C. And I gave him a bump for playing in every game. I think that's impressive. We weren't sure that he was going to. When we went through our Titans questions earlier this week from the beginning of the season, Willie set the over-under at what, 12.5?
I think so.
And he took the under. I said all 17. And that was one of the few things I was right about this season. I think it's impressive that he made it through the entire season. I like the intangibles. And I know that you can't put a number on the intangibles. For me, the fact that he played in every game, the fact that he appeared to make progress over the course of the season, as the texter just said, that bumped it up for me. The numbers, again, are unkind to Cam Ward. As a refresher, a 59.8% completion percentage, which is 31st out of 33 qualified quarterbacks on NFL Pro, because all of these different websites have different parameters for qualifying quarterbacks. So on NFL Pro, Cam Ward, 31st out of 33 in completion percentage. QBR on ESPN, 28th out of 28. 23 turnover-worthy plays, tied for third most with Geno Smith on Pro Football Focus. Some of those numbers are just really, really ugly. The sack numbers at the beginning of the season. So I can't ignore those. But when you combine the below average numbers with the improvement he seemed to make over the course of the season, when you consider the environment, the coaching staff, the pass catchers, I think he did about as well as you could expect. And that's why I put him right in the middle at the scene.
We were throughout the season, you're trying to figure out, okay, what could this look like if, Cam had, some more talent around him, the offensive line, held their own, and, there was some stability. Well, I think you found out, I think Cam gave you a glimpse of what it could look like. The month of September and October was the highest months in sacks allowed by the Tennessee Titans. I think they gave up 17 sacks in both months. It dwindled down in November to 14. And then in December, and I mean on Cam, in December, January, you can't count. So he only played 3 plays or three passes. So there was he really didn't. I guess you still had a chance to get sacked, but he didn't. But the month of December, he got sacked 7 times. So he cut that over half. And it was a part of him, and it was a part the offensive line. They started blocking better. Plays were starting to be called that were geared more toward the personnel and their quarterback than anything else. And then Cam learned how to get out of the pocket, and he became more of a threat, a potential threat of running a football. Teams, I guarantee you, at the second half of the season, teams looked at Cam running the football a little bit different than they did the first half of the season because he wouldn't run for no reason. He stayed in the pocket. And I guarantee you defensive coordinators picked that out each and every time they went over the scouting report at the beginning of the week. He doesn't run. He doesn't run. He's going to stay in the pocket, so you're going to have a chance to sack him. He doesn't move well in the pocket. I think the second half of the season, you had to reevaluate what you're watching because now he became a little bit more slippery and wiry in the pocket. He became a little bit more decisive in him running the football, take it off and run. So now you have to scout him in a different way. He went from a quarterback not wanting to run to a quarterback that, okay, I'm going to run if I need to. I'm going to create an opportunity for my guys to make a play down the field. So if you want to know what what he could potentially look like, just look at the offensive line when they were blocking well, when his receivers were doing their job. They're not elite receivers, but they were doing their job. Chikakonko was coming on. He started to look like, okay, we have something here. Add on to what you could potentially have next year in the players you're going to bring in, the new head coach. I think that was just a glimpse this last 8 games of what Cam can do. I think next year you're going to see exactly, I think, what this quarterback and how effective this quarterback can be once you surround him with players and a good coach.
So Cam Ward finished the season taking 55 sacks. Do you want to know how many sacks he was on pace to take at the end of November?
A lot.
72.
Whew.
So he cut it down significantly. That has part to do with the offensive line. It has part to do with, as you said, just being able to read plays better. One texter says Cam Ward's grade was mid. I forgot about mid. Before we asked, there was mid.
Yes.
So yes, Cam Ward's grade was mid. We do have one texter, a harsh grader for Cam Ward from Knoxville. D or a D minus. Face it, we're victims of yet another poor quarterback draft class. There's a huge difference in selecting a quarterback number 1 because you love him versus selecting a quarterback number 1 because he's available and you're desperate. Cam is a future backup masquerading as a franchise quarterback a la Mariota. Prediction: if Levis stays on the roster, he will more than challenge Cam for the quarterback 1 spot.
I mean, that's that person's opinion, and I'm not sure how they came up with he's nothing more than a backup quarterback. He's he's going to have to develop. But I think that, again, everything has nuance to it, especially in sports. It's just not black and white. So what is the texter faulting him for? What isn't he doing? Because to me, yeah, there are areas he needs to get better. And you can say that about every quarterback that, was drafted high and was going into their second season. There are things they just need to get better at. But I think that if you add talent around him, he will be able to go out there and get the job done. That's all. That's what it's about. Just getting the job done. Do whatever you take. Do whatever it takes to get the job done. Jalen Hurts, he's not flashy. He just gets the job done. Okay, there are other quarterbacks.
He can also squat like 800 pounds.
Yeah. I mean, there are other quarterbacks out there that it may not be flashy, but they get the job done. Brock Purdy. It's not flashy, but he gets the job done when he's healthy. I know he was the last pick in the draft, so I get that. But again, just because you're the first pick in the draft doesn't mean that automatically the minute you step on the field, you got it. In nowhere, in no business, if that's your first day on the job, you got it. Your first time doing it at that place, at that level, you got it. I don't care if you was the first pick or, the smartest. You don't have it the first day. It takes time. It's a process. And I think Cam is working toward that process, or he's working toward developing to be the quarterback that the Titans need him to be.
Mike from Camden says, I'll give him a B-, early on C-, but he came around the second part of the year. Brian said, I'm also at a C, not a C+ or a C-. We can't ignore the bad, but there was some really good as well that we can't ignore. Also, a question for Adam on the hot dog and tortilla shell. Do you ever eat that now? Mine was white bread pizza sauce and melted cheese. And yes, I still have that from time to time. First of all, it was a soft tortilla, not a hard tortilla. No, I don't eat that right now because it would disgust my wife. Now I eat my son's food.
You don't think that's even more disgusting that you're eating your son's food?
Well, like
baby food?
No, not baby food. He's 4 years old.
Oh yeah, you're right. I totally forgot that. I'm sorry.
But
I'm thinking of a baby.
Yes. Am I above taking one of his pouches of applesauce?
Oh, you're wrong. You're so wrong. You're so wrong.
I will do it.
Oh,
in a pinch, I will do it. His Uncrustables, I eat those things up.
Sure, that is
y'all are wrong, man.
What's wrong with that?
What's wrong with
y'all eating you eating your kid, your baby's food, man. He's looking. He enjoys his Crustables. He look forward to his Crustables.
He does love his Uncrustables.
Then when he sticks his little bitty hand in that box, he don't find any more Crustables.
Well, he's learning that life's unfair sometimes.
Yes. Dad's got to eat. One texter quickly says, the difference between Cam and quarterbacks like Drake May and Brock Purdy in his first year is that they made the gimme throws from the beginning.
No, they didn't. Okay. All right. There's no need there. Again, their teams were awful their first years.
What was
well, not Purdy's.
Yeah,
I think they had a ready-made team. But New England wasn't good their first year.
New England definitely wasn't
with Drake May. They were not. And there were throws he was missing. It was timing that was off. But his second season, you saw the jump. People, the second season, you saw the jump.
Yes.
I'm going to say it again. The second season, you saw the jump, and they added a good head coach with a offensive-minded individual in McDaniels that he may not be a good head coach. Well, he's not. But he's a hell of a play caller.
Yeah, I don't think he's cut out for being a head coach anymore.
Now you're looking at Drake May now, who he is, who he's becoming now. But last year, it wasn't like he was the bee's knees last year. He was developing.
We'll end on this. Jared from Spring Hill. Ward was not in the business of doing dumb bleep to hurt the team like Levis. That is a big factor as well. Cam Ward had some turnover issues, some fumbling issues, interceptions early in the season. But I can't recall too many of the Will Levis type surrender Cobra situations that Will Levis found himself in at the beginning of
Down
last
dog.
season. Right. So you gotta tip your cap for Ward for that. 615-737-1025. We'll continue to take your thoughts on Cam Ward's rookie season, your grades for his first year in the NFL. 615-737-1025. But coming up next, let's talk about something I saw today. The Titans may have tanked the NFL's overall attendance this season. We'll discuss that coming up next. 615-737-1025. Derek Mason, Adam Vingan, 1025 The Game. D-Mays, Vingan, and Donick, 1025 The Game. Derek Mason, Adam Vingan. Willie Donick is here. He's not in the studio yet. We saw him walking out of his car toward the front door of the studio. I was concerned he was detained by customs enforcement, but he is here. We can't wait to have him in the studio. Hold on. Should we give him a big, here he comes. Should we give him a big hello when he comes in? Derek, should we do it?
Do it.
There he is.
Hey, Willie.
There he is. Willie Donick.
Hey, Will.
Woo!
Hey, Will, how you doing?
I was afraid you were detained.
Willie.
He's back.
It
Hello,
was
Willie.
breaking news.
Yes.
They were like some bald-headed guy was getting detained at the airport. I'm like, that better not be Willie.
It's Willie. Hello. Good to see you.
Takes a long time to get back from Edmonton.
Oh, man.
Yes, we are so happy.
Willie, you're dedicated. That's all I gotta
Yes.
say, Willie.
Yes.
You're a dedicated brother.
We're glad to have you
glad
back.
to be here.
We're
I'm
glad to
be
have you back. So actually, why don't we do this? Since we were just talking about this, Derek and I and the listeners, we were grading Cam Ward's rookie season. How would you grade Cam Ward's rookie season?
I would say, based on my expectations, that I would say B minus.
Oh,
Okay. You gave him a higher grade than both Derek and I did.
Yeah.
Really?
I gave him a C.
Yeah, I gave him a C
Plus, maybe?
plus. I would have loved
So close.
because he didn't finish the final. You know, he didn't
Well,
finish the final, and it wasn't his fault.
Yeah.
I get
he
it.
scored a touchdown.
Yeah, he
on the
scored a
last thing.
touchdown, so I guess
He's off to a
he
good
sorta
start in the
kinda-
final.
Yeah, he answered the
He
first 10
opened up the
questions.
blue, he had the blue book open at the first few times. Yeah.
After that,
But honestly, surviving through the stuff that he went through, I think that's where I grade him high. Right on overall, show me the ceiling of a superstar in the making. That's where he downgrades to me. I don't know how great he's going to be, but I like his ability to keep coming back every day and saying, I'm going to get there. I'm going to get the most out of my ability. So if I'm the professor, I'm giving him the B minus, and this is in an honors class. You know, if it was weighted because it's an honors class, like think about the support system he had. None.
yeah,
None. Tell me the support he had. None. They fired the coach.
he had to do
They
work. with
changed
no
the play
computer.
call. They changed everything. They gave him the toughest circumstances. So it's a B minus, but if it's weighted, it's an A minus.
He was in a.
That's how it worked. When I went to high school, that's what you did. You take the hardest calculus class and you get a C. It's a B in the weighted form. You have a weighted and unweighted. That's how we used to roll. I don't know how they do it now. It seems like nobody gets anything lower than a B now.
Yeah,
In any class you take,
you bet
the
not.
teacher feels bad if they give you a C. Used to be like, here's a C. Be glad you got a C.
I was
That's how I got some C's.
C's get degrees.
C's
so-
get degrees. There we go. I was like, yeah, baby.
Get degrees. So I saw this story today from Sports Business Journal with the headline, NFL attendance down slightly in 2025 season. That doesn't sound so exciting. Sports Business Journal writes that the NFL's average crowd size declined in the 2025 season for the first time since the pandemic. And then it breaks it down individually. Quote, more than 2/3 of the league, 23 teams, saw their home attendance fluctuate by 1% or less in either direction. Just 4 teams posted increases in their average home attendance of more than 1%. The Panthers at 2.5%, the Chargers at 2.3%, the Giants at 1.7%, the Commanders at 1.4%. 7 teams posted declines of at least 1%. The Ravens, -1%. The Falcons, -1.1%. The Jaguars, -1.7%. The Bengals, -2%. The Browns, -3.9%. The Jets, -5.1%. The Titans, -9.1%.
But that they're lucky it's that low based on where they're asking people to go. Like they knew it would be like this.
Yes.
But look, I don't want to get started on this, but
Please do.
if they put effort into making what is their existing home for a whole nother year, if they put any effort into it, it wouldn't be 9%. I don't think it's down 9% because the team was that bad. I think it's because they've given absolutely zero effort into saying, here, we want to make this as easy as possible for you fans to keep coming here while we build the next place. but I think they put zero effort.
I
into
mean,
it all. And next year it'll be higher than 9%.
The headline for me is the Titans tanked the NFL's overall attendance.
Like they did it on purpose.
This whole 1% thing. Come on, man. That's I don't.
9.1% down year over year in attendance for the Titans.
It's to me, it's a combination of. You're right, Willie. One, you're not going to invest no more in that stadium. You're just not. And I get it. Why am I investing in the stadium that we're going to ultimately tear down and make apartments and all this other stuff? So I get it.
I'm not saying renovate the stadium.
Yeah.
Put some effort.
Exactly. But
with the people that are there, let's make this work for 2 years. They didn't do that.
But it's not going to. Their mind is not the old Nissan Stadium. Their mind is the new Nissan Stadium and what it's going to be like. So that was one. And I think two is once they removed a lot of those parking spaces, it made it a little bit more difficult to park and go to these games. I think some people decided, I just watch it at home. I'm not going to deal with, when they build a new stadium, then I go back over there. But right now it's just too much congestion. And I'm sure the city is trying to do what they can to facilitate the parking and make it as easy as possible. And I know the Titans are, but when you're not a good team, when you're not investing heavy or any more really into the stadium that you're in, and it's hard to park and everything else, then why am I coming? And your team's not good. The team's just not good right now. And the prices of things have gone up while wages have stayed the same or has gone lower. So people are weighing whether to go to these games now or just watching them on television, because you're hitting me at the stadium and you're hitting me at home, because I got to pay for these packages to watch y'all game, Titan games, or anybody else. And if I wanted to go to the game, it's going to cost me a lot of money to go, a family of 2, 3, 4, whatever. If you want to take your family, it's just going to cost. So people are starting to stay home, and it may not drop any more than what it is now. It may raise back up once they get into that new stadium. I do believe that's going to happen, but I think that's the nature of sports, especially in certain markets where either their team is bad, the city isn't quite the way it used to be anymore. It's difficult to get to the stadiums and stuff or the stadiums just run down. So you're gonna run into those things. But I think once the new stadium's open, I think they're gonna be fine.
Robert in Nashville says, do season tickets count as attendance if we don't go to the games? I had zero interest in going if it was cold, if it was raining, and I rarely stayed till the end. But I did learn that the best way to beat traffic at the Titans home games is to stay until the end.
Oh, wow. See, they do have it on that list where it's actual, but do they have it on that list? I thought I saw it.
I'll have
actual
to look.
Attendees or just people that bought the ticket?
Box score attendance figures have limitations. They generally include all tickets distributed, not actual attendance, and no shows can be significant for lower demand games. For the second straight year, problems in the official box score numbers had understated Bronco, but that's about the Broncos. I don't care about that. But yes, it's about tickets distributed, which is the way that arenas can say and teams can say,
sold out.
We're sold out. Not everybody may be here.
Exactly.
But we're sold out. Anyway, one texter on Cam Ward says, I've been a Titans fan since the creation of the world. Wow. And watching Cam Ward this season, I can say he's had some of the best throws I've seen by a Titans quarterback in years. I hate that we live in this instant satisfaction type of world where we don't allow players to show their true potential. I rock with Cam, and I think he's going to be an absolute dog for his career. The creation of the world. On the first day, God created.
You're a Titan fan.
Yes.
He created that Titan fan.
I appreciate that. One texter wants to know if you see similarities between Cam Ward and Steve McNair at this point in their careers.
Yes, there is, but I'm not sure that there are some small things that I sort of see or plays that he made that made me sort of like, wow, that's Steve, that's Mac right there. But is he Steve? I don't think he's Steve McNair. It's just a different game now. I would have loved to see Steve McNair in this type of NFL now. knowing what he did in college. I would love to see him in the NFL where, passing is paramount. When he was playing, running was paramount. Passing was secondary. Now you got to be able to throw the football.
Matt says, I have 3 kids. I commute to Nashville every day for work. I am not fighting that situation with 3 kids for the price and production. I mean, so next season, the attendance figures are going to probably be bad too, because the Titans are definitely not going to put any work into the final season of the old Nissan Stadium.
No.
So we shall see. 615-737-1025. Our phone and text lines are driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. Coming up next, Jonathan Hutton from Hot Mike with Hutton and Withrow will join us. We'll get back into the Titans coaching search, John Harbaugh, which candidates Hutton likes. We'll discuss it all with our friend Hutton coming up next. 615-737-1025. We are broadcasting from the Busy Bee Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning Game Nashville Studios, home of the $99 yearly Beehive membership, where the buzz is always about great service. D-Mace, Vingan, and Donick, 102.5 The Game. Willie Donick, Derek Mason, Adam Vingan, and David Janes here with you. Pleased to be joined, as we are every Wednesday at 5 o'clock, by our friend Jonathan Hutton from Hot Mic with Hutton and Withrow. Hi, Hutton. How are you?
Hey, Willie Mace, hope you guys are doing well, and Happy New Year to you, Adam.
Last day. But
not for
I
me.
I'm gonna see
appreciate that.
how long I can keep this going.
I
Yeah,
appreciate that, Hutton. I really do. So let's do some role playing here, Hutton. Let's say that you get a phone call from Amy Adams Strunk, and she says, Jonathan, I want you to be the lead on our pitch to John Harbaugh. We really want John Harbaugh to be our next coach, and we think you are the man to put the pitch together. What are you highlighting? What are you emphasizing in an attempt to convince John Harbaugh to pick the Titans?
How much do you want, and who do you want to work with? There you go.
That's it.
And I'm doing what they should have done, and I'm putting the guy in charge that has done something that it ends with the Super Bowl, or is getting us on the path to doing so. If I'm working in that direction, I'm not going with the first time play caller and doing all this stuff and listening to people that, or a collaboration of those who haven't done things in a coaching search before. And I'm not taking anything away from Mike Bergonzi. You're asking me what I would, if I'm Harbaugh, what I would say, or if I'm Amy Armstrong, what I would say to him. Yeah. We want you. What do you want?
What do you?
That's what it comes down to. I want to win whenever the dome opens. What do you want, John Harbaugh?
What do you make of the list of interviews that have reportedly been scheduled? And again, just because they're getting an interview doesn't mean they're a top candidate, but it's a wide range of coaches, from Kevin Stefanski to Lou Anarumo to Jason Garrett. We all had a bit of a laugh yesterday. But what do you make of the list of candidates who are reportedly already set for interviews? Are you noticing any themes or trends based on the coaches who have been given interviews so far?
This is the premise I'm viewing these names and lists under. Okay, and this comes with an addendum here. This is like Harbaugh is off the list from how I'm viewing this. Okay. My thoughts. I want to approach it as if Mike Bergonzi is a smart, competent, and knows what he doesn't know first-time general manager. And I think he is those things, but I'm viewing it through that lens, and the lens that everyone assessing this list would be smart as well. The Titans coaching search did not start whenever everyone starts reporting these names on Monday. They have known since before Halloween that they were going to be hiring a coach. I would hope that an organization with competence would be doing everything possible to have their plan pretty much set in place whenever things are whenever you are allowed to then ask for permission to talk to coaches. Now, if it is Matt Nagy, then to me, this is exactly how they should do it. They can't hire a coach right now, this exact moment anyway. Adam, I would view it as first time in this situation as going through a coaching search. Let me interview as many as possible, and then also get as many opinions, analysis, assessments, plans. Everyone is going and saying, here's what I think of Cam Ward. Here's how I would do things offensively, defensively. You're getting everybody collectively giving you their pitch to get you back to the playoffs and on an actual path towards a championship. That's not a bad thing, no matter how long this takes.
No,
now that's if you have planned this out, mapped out how, and he's very deliberate. He knows what he's looking for. And I mean, look, there were interviews. Jason Garrett, for instance, has interviewed a number of places, and I would think that while he can certainly win the job, I'm not saying here anywhere, he can sell himself and win a head coaching position. Other organizations have had him in too, and it may just be a detailed plan of what the organization is about from his perspective. I would want a veteran analysis from other organizations and philosophies.
Yeah, I think you're right in regards to that. Huh? But like you said, this is not something that they just started doing. It's not like, oh, the season ended,
No
we
way it
fired
just
their
started.
quarterback. Oh, I mean, your head coach. Oh, now we're going to start looking for a coach. Like you said, they've been looking for a coach 3 months ago. This started 3 months ago. So
Matt Nagy turned down the contract extension in Kansas City. Like, if you're doing it, he's going to, if he wants to coach, he's going to be back channeling. This goes on, like players are getting contacted to the transfer portal in September, October, November, and year round. NFL coaches would too.
Yeah. And that's why my thing is, and I said this yesterday, like, I'm done with the fluff. Like, if you don't realistically think that you're going to hire this guy, don't bring him in, because I think this organization, you had enough time to, you've been in jumpstart mode before teams even thought about looking for a head coach.
They can't hire yet, though, right?
No, not as far as that. But Berganzi said it. I know enough people in this business to know what I need to ask, who I need to ask, and when I need to ask it, and in what way I need to ask it, to know about certain coaches around the league that may end up getting fired.
Sure.
So that's why I said, listen, I understand that the process entails bringing people in, but if you don't have plans to hire this guy, don't waste your time. Don't waste the organization's time. Don't waste his time. It may not be a waste of his time because he's getting the interview in front of you, but don't waste the organization's and the quarterback's time, because the longer it takes you to find a head coach, the further it puts you back. And you've been leading the race for 3 months. So you don't want to.
What if you can save time and actually talk to your future offensive coordinator during this process?
Yeah, you're
or
right.
Your defensive coordinator. What if Kafka is going to be the OC and play caller and Raheem Morris is the defensive coordinator?
No, you're right. And we went over that sort of scenario yesterday. But my thing is, if I'm looking for my head coach, yes, it's good to get these other people in front of me, but my main objective is to find a head coach. That's my main objective. And I understand the things on the outside needs to be dealt with too, meaning assistant coaches and everything else. But my main objective right now is to find the head coach for this team for the next, hopefully 10 to 15 years.
But also, like, and again, like, I don't want this to turn into what the Jets did last year.
Yes.
Where it's like 19 people and they didn't have a GM either. And they're trying to figure this out. But with a general manager who was just named in charge, since October, this has been going down. For the longest time, Matt Nagy was not linked to any other teams but the Titans. And I think the Cardinals just got involved. But it just screams that this is, Mike Mularkey was the head coach before Mike Mularkey was going to be the head coach. The interim was, they interviewed some other guys, but he's admitted that. So I don't mind the fact that the GM's doing this, because again, Matt LaFleur ended up being the offensive coordinator because Mike Vrabel didn't have an OC whenever Ohio State named an interim coach or a coach in waiting, excuse me. And that ended up benefiting the organization because Vrabel was able to turn to him because John Robinson recommended him. I don't disagree. I'm not interviewing a guy that I have no interest in philosophy.
Exactly.
But if I want to learn personality and a tone set and whether or not this guy's an alpha in the room, sure. Or the plan for coaching staff. That's another benefit to know.
Now, Adam asked a question yesterday after the press conference, what would be the headline if we had to title it? Mine was "The GM has spoken." After listening to Borgonzi, what would your headline be?
It's official. The Titans have a general manager. But I also thought about this yesterday, Mace. He did this before at the trade deadline. He was solo at the trade deadline too. I don't think he was just named the guy in charge. I think that was whenever we learned that he was officially by title and the work pyramid and who's doing what and who reports to who. I think that was officially publicly announced, but I think privately behind the scenes, he's been running this for a long time. I think minimum since the trade deadline, where he was sitting up there by himself as the voice of the organization, where he was talking about he doesn't want to get into the head coaching search, but here's what we're looking for. He was the leader then too, is what I'm saying. I think they had the GM behind the scenes then.
So Hut, what do you think happened?
I liked what he came in and did and said, and how he approached things. It's very dry, but I think he does try to answer certain questions. Other things he's not going to, just based on for any reason. But I viewed it as a very positive move and outcome, because this is the one opportunity the Titans had, or fans, whoever, to see the team actually hire an alpha coach, because Borgonzi's making the recommendation. Otherwise, I think we would see similarities to other hires that have been made or moves that have been made within the organization.
So Hut, what do you think happened behind the scenes, whenever it happened? If your theory is it happened weeks ago, do you think it was significant? The need for Amy Adams Strunk to put out the whole press release, "They came to me," kind of thing. Tell me what you think happened.
I think it's just the right way to do things, because so many questions were going to come from coaches, potential coaches, about the structure. It saves having to have the conversation during the interview process, or any concerns a coach would have. I mean, if I'm John Harbaugh and they didn't do this, I'm not even showing up here for an opportunity. Like, you see what I'm saying, Willie? Like,
yep.
I think the timing.
So you don't think it was an issue, a work issue between Brinker and Borgonzi necessarily? It was more for how it's perceived from the outside?
The end of the work week, and then the following work week, the interviews were going to start. I think the press release was just to make it officially put out there by everyone. And there are certain, media members who initially had it, so like I viewed it as timing, because of the coaching search officially starting, and requests were going to be made prior to Wednesday. So you want requests accepted. And I took it as that. Now, earlier from internal, I mean, I think there were certain things that Brinker was doing, and certain things that the GM was doing. And yeah, I think they at the trade deadline, hey, do we need to talk to Chad Brinker? Or we need to talk to Mike Borgonzi? Who are we requesting about trading for Jeff Simmons for? Like, to me, that he was always doing those things in that role, and Brinker's doing what Brinker's doing, which is,
we don't know.
Salary cap stuff, I guess.
Yes.
I think the one voice thing does look good, just from how it goes. So I'm with you guys on that. Hud, I want to ask you about offensive philosophy, how they approach this, because they could end up with any number of head coaches here. It may not be an offensive mind that they hire, but what's the best offense for Cam Ward? How similar does it need to be to what they have been running?
Which version of what they've been running?
Good question.
It needs to be the run game while he develops. Like, the new staff, it's head coach, OC, play caller, quarterback coach. I would try to make that group as few as people as possible, instead of the 4 or 5 voices that Cam Ward was talking to all year. I would say the head coach doesn't need to call plays, but the play caller and the OC and the quarterback coach are primarily the 2 guys I need around my quarterback at all times. And I don't need an OC and a play caller and a quarterback coach and a head coach that calls plays. And no, don't need all that. And Mike McCoy even had a quarterback background, and he's walking around doing things offensive only. He admitted that before he took the interim job. He's also around Cam a lot. So I would minimize that with my core guys, and then I would focus on the run game, offensive line. But again, like the O-line being what it was this year, the run game did settle in and then dictate the pace of games. There was improvement, and I think the improvement happened from Cam because of the run game. I would lean on that and get back to the foundation of, let's be honest, whenever they fired Vrabel, there was this line of what did it was ownership or speaking for ownership, new era football or new age offense or whatever.
They've had so many
league.
sayings.
Look around the league.
Passing yards are down.
Well, yeah, but yeah, really down compared to like 5-6 years ago.
Sure.
And in college football too. So I would rely on the run game and defense, and that's not a terrible thing. There's still exciting football being played, but the foundation and the anchor of some of these teams who are successful, get a lead, keep the lead, and stop the opponent is going to have another MVP caliber quarterback across from him in the AFC.
Okay, so that leads into the next question. And this was discussed some. It's overshadowed, of course, by the coaching search. But prioritizing, if it's edge rusher or wide receiver with the first pick, which way would you lean? All things being equal.
Willie, say that again.
How would you prioritize their first overall pick? I guess the fourth pick in the draft. Which would it be a wide receiver to put with Cam?
Pick. Okay.
Or would it be an edge rusher? If all things are, because it does look like they'll have options in that at both of those positions in that spot in the draft.
Man, it wouldn't be wide receiver right now. It would be pass rush or corner. Quite frankly, and I look at it. Is it high for a cornerback? Yes. Not for pass rush, and there's some elite dudes there, it seems. Yeah, I mean, look, I'm going with the KC model. I got to think. I'm thinking success of what they've had. It was Mahomes in the offense, but defensively they could get after you, and they had the good version of Snead, and they got their wide receivers primarily in like the second, third, fourth rounds. And correct me if I'm wrong there, guys, but they had their offense was legit, and they all knew exactly what was going on. Everybody was in lockstep. And then defensively, high round picks in the first round, second round. Now they had low round. They're drafting, low in these rounds because they won. But that was the focus, and I would build on the edges of both sides of the football. I'm going to invest at corner and wide receiver and at pass rush, and they lack all three. I just don't. I don't think that the wide receiver spot is necessary if you're drafting well to make sure you can move the football if you have an elite quarterback. They're saying they do. Go get an edge or get a corner, and if edge affects the corner, that dude better be, a standout player pretty early on in the season, because right now we saw what they ended with at corner, and it's not like they had a great group to begin with. Teams are going to score points. Right now, I'm not sure the Titans can score a ton of points, but we'll see what they do in the offseason, given the fact that they have a ton of money. But they're going to win or lose based on how they draft.
Jonathan Hutton from Hot Mike with Hutton and Withrow has been our guest on D-Mace, Ving, and Donick. He joins us every Wednesday at 5 o'clock. Hutton, great stuff as always, my friend. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. Happy Easter, Adam.
Thank you. I'll take that under consideration.
Hey, I always enjoy this, guys. You guys have a great rest of the week.
You as well. 615-737-1025. We will revisit Derek Mason's assessment of John Harbaugh as a coach. As we discussed earlier in the program, we are in a unique position on this show because we have a member of this program who actually played for John Harbaugh. So what does Derek like and maybe even dislike about John Harbaugh as a coach and his fit with the Titans? We'll get back to that coming up next. 615-737-1025. Willie Donick, Derek Mason, Adam Ving at 1025 The Game.
All right, let's tell you about Loan Pronto. It's a great financial move you can make right here to start off 2026, lowering your mortgage rate. Right now, they're delivering as low as 4.99% fixed APR, the lowest rate in years. So in the last couple of years, if you got stuck with a high mortgage rate, you're not alone, but Loan Pronto can get you in a better spot. You can save hundreds, sometimes thousands of dollars per month if you can get a better rate. So call Loan Pronto and find out what's going on. And furthermore, if you need cash out of your home's equity, that's another reason to call Loan Pronto, because they have the rapid equity loan process where it's really streamlined and you can get this money fast and then knock out high interest bills like high credit card bills, a car loan, something like that. There's no hard credit pull up front. You probably won't even need an appraisal. Just fast, easy cash from your home's equity. So call about all of this at 615-499-5780 or go to loanpronto.com. That's 615-499-5780 or go to loanpronto.com. Start this new year off right. Wipe out that high interest debt. 615-499-5780. Equal housing lender, NMLS 1661781, APR for well-qualified buyers. Visit NMLSconsumeraccess.org.
D-Mace, Vingen and Donick, 1025 The Game. David Janes reaching deep into the pop punk library today. Ashley Simpson, Avril Lavigne. Interesting choices. I like them. I dig it. I dig it. Willie Donick, Derek Mason, Adam Vingen here with you. Quickly, because we were just talking about this amongst ourselves. Some interesting news in the world of college football / the NFL draft. Ty Simpson declaring for the 2026 NFL draft. Alabama's quarterback. Kind of surprised by that one, guys. I thought he was going to go back to school.
Against the grain a little bit, because it feels like, I'm sure all these guys have advisors now.
Mhm.
They've probably had some advisors say, look, the quarterback position, you've seen the articles, you've seen the crop. It doesn't look like it's real thick.
Mhm.
This could be an opportunity with his talent to move way up the draft board in a year that's thin at that position. So I'm intrigued by this, D. Mace, because I do see a lot of talent in Simpson. I'm told, by the way, his younger brother is actually a better
Quarterback
player.
than him?
Could end up being better than him. That's how good he is. But for him, trying to seize the opportunity in a year where everybody is looking for a quarterback, and if there's only a slow trickle coming out, he could improve his draft stock by coming out.
He could benefit from the lack of top-end quarterback talent in this draft. People said Cam benefited from it last year. Well, Ty Simpson possibly feels that he can benefit from it as well. He was, the team was up and down. He played well for a stretch, really well. There was a point he was at the top of the list when you're talking about Heisman trophies, and then he and the team sort of tailed off, and then he didn't even finish the game in the playoffs, so he has to rehab. But you're right, in the climate that we're in right now, where you can get paid to stay in college and play. Yeah, he must have really thought, like, somebody must have really said, hey, listen, this draft, you have a good chance at getting drafted higher.
And it's got to be first round
because you got to figure next year's crop is going to be led by Manning. So, and then you have other quarterbacks that are in there. So the crop of quarterbacks may be much better next year.
Matt Miller on ESPN.com wrote this. Due to his lack of starting experience, the pre-draft process will be extremely important for Simpson. Without weighing the impact of future interviews and pre-draft workouts, Simpson looks like a late first-round talent on tape and is currently ranked as my number 3 quarterback behind Mendoza and Moore. He could easily rise from late first-round status once he gets in front of teams and shows his aptitude. But his lack of starts, 25 is considered the baseline for success by many NFL scouts, could cause him to fall into day 2.
That's kind of the new thing, though, right? Is hey, you got to start 25 or you got to start 35.
Bo Nix,
but if
Cam Ward,
if you're going to the grocery store and you're looking for quarterbacks this year, you have what you have, right? It's not 10 guys who all have 50 starts and have the perfect profile. It's a weak class. So I think his people are probably telling him, you're going to rise up. People need quarterbacks. You're better than the guys that are out there.
Yeah.
By the way, the college football playoff continues tomorrow. Miami at Ole Miss in the Fiesta Bowl, a 6:30 p.m. kickoff. Miami favored by 3.5 at State Farm Stadium in Glendale, Arizona. The big news in the NFL yesterday, the shockwaves are still being felt more than 24 hours later. The Baltimore Ravens fired John Harbaugh after 18 seasons. And earlier in the program, Derek, who played for John Harbaugh for 3 seasons, laid out the pros and the cons of being coached by John Harbaugh and his potential fit. Derek, I want to recap those pros and cons. Willie hasn't heard them. Some of our listeners may not have heard them. So let's recap those pros and cons of John Harbaugh.
Yeah, and I'm going to sort of give the edited version. Elite leadership, that's there. You don't stay at a ball club for 18 years and command a ball club for 18 years without showing elite leadership. And he's won a Super Bowl. So that's there. He's a strong culture builder. He knows how to build a culture. He knows how to establish a culture. He knows how to do it in different iterations. He did it with the Joe Flacco sort of iteration. And I say Joe Flacco because they drafted him when I think that was the first. It might have been the second year that they.
It was his first year.
Yeah, it was his first year. Because Mac ended up retiring early that year. So they drafted Joe, and so he was able to. They, as a coaching staff, was able to develop Joe. They end up winning a Super Bowl out of it. But then now you have a different team, a different philosophy, a different quarterback. So he's been able to sort of win at a high level with 2 iterations of quarterbacks, 2 iterations of teams, one led by a veteran-led, defensive-led young quarterback, and the other was more so led by a younger quarterback, a younger team, not as veteran, and not, even though they've had some good defenses, it's been about their offense. So I look at that and say, this is a guy that can build a culture. This is a guy that knows how to change and knows how to sort of adapt to what's going on. This is a guy, like Borgonzi said, and I said this, Willie, that when you're talking about connecting, he was a connector in Baltimore. Again, you don't stay in a place for 18 years
Yes.
and not able to connect with people, throughout the building. So he was able to do that. And that is one of the things that Borgonzi said he's looking for. He's looking for alpha male, but he doesn't have to be loud. That's John Harbaugh. John Harbaugh's an alpha type individual, but he doesn't yell and scream. At least, like I said, at least not in front of the cameras. I've heard him yell and scream, on a practice field, but he challenges and he's demanding as a head coach. Those are my pros. And, if you want to go to the analytics, the numbers, I mean, he's won 6 AFC North titles. He's won the most road games in the playoffs of any coach. He has 90 something wins, or 63, somewhere around there, wins. He's one of the most winningest coach during that tenure. So he has a lot of things that I think Borgonzi is looking for in a head coach.
Willie, I wanted to get your thoughts on, look, everybody wants John Harbaugh. He's the number one coach, I imagine, on everybody's list right now. But I want your thoughts on Harbaugh and the potential fit.
I think John Harbaugh is the number one guy out there. I think the one concern I thought of today in retrospect, because we were hit with it right between the eyes while we were on the air today, but I feel the same way, that for all the reasons D-May said, you'd be an idiot not to take your swing at him. The one thing that I look back on with a chase for a Peyton Manning several years ago, where they put all their eggs into that and they finished second and they didn't get him, and then, well, now what do we do? I would be careful on how I went about it. I would say, look, you're the top guy out there. Kind of like Hutton said, what do you need? Are you interested? How much would it take? If you're interested, we're interested. Take that swing, but don't go so far down the road that you're going to overlook all of the other candidates. You have to make sure that you have the fallback plan. But you've got to go out. You've got to just investigate and see what you got.
Randy on our text line says, it was scary to me when I heard Borgonzi say they were going to use a committee to pick the coach, especially when Brinker's name was the first he mentioned. Again, this is what we talked about on Friday when this news broke about Borgonzi being the GM in the traditional sense and leading the coaching search. It gets Chad Brinker off the marquee. He goes off to the side a little bit. I think that was a smart PR play by the Titans, but Borgonzi did list the people who are going to be part of this coaching search. Brinker is going to be a part of it. He's not going to sit on the sideline. So again, I understand committees sometimes scare people because the Tennessee Titans have been using that collaborative approach for the past few years and it hasn't worked out so well. But Brinker is going to be a part of it. You just hope that Borgonzi really does lead the search and puts his stamp on it.
Well, again, I think there's a reason. Now, Hut said they had been made that decision, and I think that's true, at least behind the scenes. But the closer, I think they felt that this was the right time to make sure before we get any coaches in here that they know the structure. There is no ambiguity.
Ambiguity.
It
is a hard word.
Yeah, ambiguity. When it comes to this team, they want to. If I'm a head coach, I want to know, what is the structure, who's in charge, and then go from there. Well, now everyone knows. It's in print. In its traditional form, Borgonzi is the guy. He's the GM. So if I'm a head coach and I'm walking in, I'm like, okay, at least now we got that established, how the chain of command is. Now as much as they would have to convince John to come here, John is interviewing them as well. Like, okay, what is this going to look like? What are you envisioning? This is what I envision. So it's going to be a back and forth thing with them.
Let's go to our friend Dr. Locke on our phone line, driven by WilsonCountyHunter.com. Dr. Locke, thank you for calling. Go ahead.
What's going on, fellas?
Hey.
Mace, how you doing?
I'm all right.
All right. Well, before we get into it, what I do for a living, is I'm a sales director for a car dealership. Not going to go into which car dealership, but I've got 13, 15 salesmen that work for me, right? And we got to establish the budget. When I have a customer that comes into my lot and they're looking for a $350, $400 payment, we're not going to put them on a $60,000 car. So, do you know what we were paying our old coach, the old coach of the Titans that we just let go? You know what his salary was?
No, but he's got a decent amount of time
he
left
got
on
some
that
money
salary.
left on that on that
No,
contract.
I'm saying his yearly salary, his yearly was $3 million a year.
Oh, it's going to take more than that.
No. I'm going to land the plane, guys. I get it, but what we were paying him was $3 million a year, right? So if we were going to compare him to a car, right, he was a $20,000 used Ford Explorer, right? Now, John Harbaugh. Do you know what John Harbaugh made? The Harbaugh with Baltimore.
I think it was 17 mil.
That's correct. The Denver head coach that they gave up. Denver gave up a first-round draft pick to get the old New Orleans coach, the guy who just turned
Sean
the whole
Payton.
program around. Sean Payton. Do you know what Sean Payton made last year?
18
to 20 million. So we got to ask right from the jump, are we committed to spend 18 to 20 million?
Yeah.
If we're not, then let's not go show them that car, right? If a customer wants to be at $350 or $400 a month, I'm not showing them a $70,000 sport utility.
Makes sense.
Thank you for the call.
No,
Dr.
that's
good.
I mean, it's a good point. Yeah, it's good.
Well, okay, so let's.
Yeah.
What do we think the answer is? If you go to Mike Borgonzi says, "Hey, I just had a good conversation with John Harbaugh. He's interested in taking a look at us." You know, and lay it out just what Dr. Locke said. He made 17 mil last year. Are we in that ball? And
you would have to
we're
be.
going to have competition.
You would have to be.
He probably will become the highest paid coach because we know the Giants are in there. Other teams are going to be in there. Are you prepared to go that high? What do you think Amy Adams says?
If you
got
want
that cash line around,
if you want to play,
new stadium hadn't opened yet.
Hey, if you want to play in that playground, then that's what you got to have to offer him.
Okay, but what's her answer?
If you want to win, hell yeah, I got to pay you.
She's got the money.
Yeah, the money's there.
The money's there.
But, but the Titans have a reputation of being a cash poor team.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe that will be a little different in the new stadium. They're certainly asking pretty high prices for those PSLs. They'll have better revenue streams probably in a couple of years, but right now,
I guess you can always use when it comes. Okay, outside of the Titans, which other organization don't have that's looking for a coach don't have a state income tax?
The Vegas Raiders.
Raiders. That is it. Arizona didn't fire. Well,
Arizona has state income tax.
I think the Titans.
Texas. Is there any Texas teams involved?
Yeah, there are no Texas teams. So I think the Titans and Vegas.
Georgia has a state.
Yeah,
Georgia has a state income tax. I think it might be the Raiders and the Titans.
I mean, do you try to use that to not have to pay the 17 or 18 million that Baltimore had to pay?
I think you.
I mean, we
use that.
We say that. Yeah, we say
money.
that about players, and that's real money. So why wouldn't that be considered when? And listen, when it comes to coaches, they may not operate from that sort of realm where hey, just because I have a state tax, that's a plus. I don't have a state tax, that's a plus or a minus. They probably don't see it either way.
Right, and I would, but this is all predicated on a conversation early on that says, are you interested in this job?
Yeah.
Don't string us out. We want to know if you're interested. If you are, the money will work out. But do you want to be here? He may say no.
Two quick texts. One texter says she would be for it if she wants someone who won't make her look bad. Another texter says cash poor is a nicer word for cheap. 615-737-1025. We'll continue to take your reaction on John Harbaugh and the Titans coaching search and wrap up the show. Coming up next, Willie Dunnick, Derek Mason, Adam Vingan, 1025 The Game. D Mace, Vingen, and Donick 1025. The Game. Preds Insider returns coming up next. I was joined by Alex Daugherty earlier today, so you will hear our analysis of the Nashville Predators coming up at 6 o'clock. The Predators are back in action tomorrow at home, finally, against the New York Islanders. Puck drop at 7, pregame at 6, right here, bless you, on 1025 The Game. Let's go to our phone line and welcome in Clarence. Clarence, thank you for calling. Go ahead.
Yeah, thanks for having me. So I've been listening. Oh, sorry. I've been listening, and I'm looking at this new coaching search as a business deal, right? We have a new stadium coming up. We need to put seats in the state. We need to put butts in the stadium. So I think it's very crucial that we don't get somebody that nobody really knows. I think John Harbaugh, we need to pay that money that we need to pay, if it's 20 million, 18 million, whatever, because it's going to bring attention to Nashville. Nashville is a growing city. We want to have the Super Bowl. I think it's super important that we fill the vacancy with somebody that can drive that seats, butts in the seats for people to come to Nashville and do, right now, football is not even a thing in Nashville. So I think it's super important that we look at it not just for a winning coach, but on the business side, that we have somebody that can bring in the business money to Nashville.
Thank you for the call, Clarence.
Yeah.
Listen, whoever they choose to bring in, that person is going to have to jumpstart this franchise very quickly. Typically is what, like try to get 2 to 3 years, but where this franchise is at, I believe, if it takes you 3 years, the fan bases, they may not stick around, especially, because 3 years would be a year after you move into the new stadium. They want a winner the day they move into the new stadium. Why? Because that's what people remember. The day they moved into the Nissan Stadium, they had a winning team. So they're figuring, you want a new stadium, you get another new stadium, we want a winning team. So whoever you choose to hire, whether it's John Harbaugh, Nagy, Stefanski, that person got to come in, and there needs to be immediate results for this fan base, because if it's not, they are going to lose confidence in you very fast. Right now, Borgonzi's on the top of the hill right now. People feel good about him. Great press conference yesterday. We like what he said. He's assertive. We know who's in charge. But make no mistake, they felt that way about John Robinson. They felt that way about Rand Carthon. They can end up, they feel that way about Borgonzi. But if you don't start winning, they're going to quickly forget about your press conference.
Speaking of winning teams, Willie Donick was on an international flight today, went through customs, took a while. He got here. You think he's going to sleep? Hell no. He's going to Memorial Gym to watch the Commodores, the undefeated Commodores, take on Alabama in a huge SEC matchup. Credit to Dylan Tovitz for this stat. It's been 52 years since Memorial Gym last hosted a matchup between two top 13 teams. That game was a 74-73 Vanderbilt win against Alabama on January 4th, 1974.
They hadn't played a good team. They hadn't played a good team, man.
We'll see about that.
By the way, I do have the over-under. We did not have that the other day.
Oh,
have you seen the over-under?
It's got to be
I haven't
super
seen
high.
it.
Any guesses?
One.
If both teams hit 100, I would not be surprised.
I would say 160.
It's higher than that.
179.5.
There you go.
Over-under. 179.5.
Alabama has, number one, they play at a really high tempo. We know what they do. They do the math. Give me a lot of shots. Give me a lot of three-point shots and layups. You're going to score a lot of points. In the Ken Palm, they are number 2 in offensive efficiency on the season. So Alabama, they're going to get a lot of three-point shots up. They're going to score a lot of points. That is going to be the number one thing. Will Vanderbilt be able to guard them? I think Vanderbilt is a good defensive team. Vanderbilt has, by the way, the number 4 offensive efficiency on the season. As you've seen, they're scoring, 90 to 100 points, or at least high 80s in most of their games.
Now, I know Alabama's head coach made the comment of, Vandy hadn't played in, what was it, a good team or whatever.
Well, Alabama, in fairness, they have had a
and
tougher schedule.
they've had a tough schedule.
Yeah.
But when I look at Vandy, and you talk about the sort of fast pace of Alabama, that's why to me that Memphis game was telling, because Memphis was sort of just like up and down. It was chaotic and there was physicality, but Vandy was able to settle in. And they were able to play the brand of basketball that they wanted to play. And it was a hard-fought game. It went into overtime, but they found a way to win. I think that game may help them more than what people believe in this Alabama game.
And I do think that Vanderbilt's, the argument that Vanderbilt's played a, a quote-unquote easy schedule, it was boosted by the fact that two of the teams they have defeated this season, UCF and SMU, had big wins over the weekend. UCF beat Kansas, SMU beat North Carolina, which makes Vanderbilt's resume look better by comparison. But I'm really fascinated by this game. I can't wait to watch it. You can watch it, or you can listen to it. You can also watch it, but you can listen to it right here on 102.5 The Game. Pre-game starts at 7:30. Tip-off is at 8 o'clock. And Willie Donick, a flight from Edmonton's not going to stop him. He's going to be there.
I got very few chances to go to Memorial Gym with all the hockey games going on, so I'm going to take this opportunity to go watch.
It's
So
going to be a mad
I think it's going to be a really good crowd. I think there'll be some Alabama fans there tonight. Hopefully not too many, but
You gonna wear the Donick jersey?
I will not wear the Donick jersey. My son Mahoney, though, he's not afraid to pull out the Donick jersey, the vintage.
It's a one of one.
Exactly.
I had a great. This is relative to me. I didn't have a lot of great moments on the court, but we had a great win at home against a Wimp Sanderson Alabama team with Robert Ory, Latrell Sprewell.
That's a good team.
A very good team. And we whipped them. And at one point, I boxed out Robert Ory on the backside, and he picked me up and he threw me towards the cheerleaders, and they called a foul on him. I was like, yeah, I got fouled by Robert Ory. Boom.
Whatever happened to that guy?
Big shot, Bob.
He might have
won about
a
8
couple
championships.
How many
some rings.
championships? How many championships did he win? And we will be at Bridgestone Arena tomorrow. The Predators are finally back home. They take on the New York Islanders. Willie gets the night off because ESPN Plus is taking that game.
Yeah, they kind of swept in there and grabbed it. Okay.
There you
All right.
go.
Big game.
Ain't nothing wrong with that.
Islanders only won 9-0 last night. So they're coming in on a roll. They've actually played really
Coming in
well
hot.
lately.
Yes,
They're coming in
and
hot.
they have a very special player on the back end. Number 1 overall pick, Matthew Schaefer on defense.
Yeah.
He is a special player.
And they can thank the new lottery rules for that. I mean, the Islanders jumped up the maximum 10 spots.
They did.
To get that pick.
They did. I was saying on Preds Insiders, which you can hear coming up next, as I was talking with Alex Doherty earlier today, Willie, that games between the Oilers and the Predators should come with a viewer discretion is advised label, because it's
going to be physical. Huh?
Well, not even that. It's just the things that Draisaitl and McDavid specifically can do are just unfair. And they they have their way with everybody, but they seem to especially have their way with the Predators.
I mean, he is unbelievable. He
Does
just moves
that
differently.
frustrate you when you're watching it, Willie?
It's tough. And they play again next Tuesday.
Yep, here in Nashville.
That's going to be a big game. You got a 4-game homestand, and adjusting back. I mean, they have been on the road a lot. I mean, I feel for those guys. I didn't even go to the last game before Christmas, which was on the road. So they haven't played a home game since December 21st. So they went on the road, played the 1 game in Minnesota. Then they had the 3 days off. A lot of the guys, I'm sure, traveled back to be with family and whatnot. So that's probably another trip in there. Then they hopped a plane on the 27th and played all these games. Just got home today. So regrouping and getting back to your A game on home ice will be a challenge. But that's the grind. That's what faces all these teams that are about the same in the standings, is who can have that mental toughness, who can stay healthy, who could be sharp and win enough games.
And the Predators played 7 consecutive games on the road and went 4-3 and faced some tough situations, some lengthy travel, a back-to-back on the road, Vegas, then Seattle.
the day of the game travel on the 27th, show up and play.
Tough circumstances.
So
yes.
4-3,
Travel-wise.
all things considered, 4-3 is
It's a good thing.
fairly impressive
Oh,
considering the situation.
Yes, I thought it was a road trip that could sink them back down to the bottom, honestly. But to win at Minnesota, at Utah, at Vegas, among the wins, and then Calgary had won 8 out of 9 at home before Nashville beat them. So it wasn't perfect, but I thought it was. Let's use and by the way, in all 7 of those games, they gave up the first goal of the game, which is a recipe for disaster most nights. And Barry Trotz, that was the first thing he said. You cannot keep winning in this league when you fall behind early in the game. It's incredible. They've got to flip that somehow. Hopefully the law of averages says you'll get a lucky bounce at some part, and maybe you'll start getting a trend. But that trend is going to have to change in the second half for them to start winning at a level to stay in this thing and make something of it.
Over the past 20 games, they've won 13 of 20. How many of those 20 games have they allowed the first goal? I know the answer.
You know the answer. I know. I went even further back. I know it's 21 of 26.
Okay, that's bad.
21 of the last 26. They've given up.
15 of 20
15
during
of 20.
the stretch of 13 and 7. 15 and 20. It's not a recipe for success. But go ahead.
No, go ahead. Finish.
No, you go.
No. I was about to say, I have a quick thought here.
Yes.
And should I hold this over the establishment that I work out in? Should I hold a grudge against them?
Okay.
Quickly. The place I go work out at, I got a membership where I can go any day I want, every day. But I know that I only really go 3 times a week. So I went up to the lady at the front desk and said, hey, is there a membership where I can go only 3 times a week? She was like, well, no, there's one where you can go 2 times a week. I said, so y'all go from going every day a week to only 2 times a week? Like, isn't there a middle ground, 3 days? But they don't have a 3-day. Should I hold a grudge against it? Nice people. I like going, but shouldn't there be a middle ground?
It seems reasonable.
Exactly. That's what I thought.
It would seem reasonable, but it's
That's what I
not.
thought.
Frankly, Derek, I don't really have an opinion. Work out as much as you want. That'll do it for us today. We will be live at Bridgestone Arena tomorrow, where the Predators will take on the Islanders. Looking forward to being back at the arena. Elliot Freeman of Sportsnet will join us. We haven't talked to him in a few weeks. Curious to hear his thoughts about the Predators so far, or at least since the last time we spoke to him. Willie, enjoy the game tonight. Alabama at Vanderbilt. Preds Insiders with me and Alex Doherty coming up next.
Be love on your people. Have a safe, blessed, and wonderful day. I love you. The team loves you. You hear that music. Don't you forget about us, because we will not forget about you. Let's go, Vandy, because we will see you tomorrow at 3 p.m. on 102.5 The Game. Let's go, Vandy. Peace.